Oh, hey, good morning, everybody. I don't know what time it is everywhere else. I'm still adjusting from the time change, so I don't know what time it is. It's 11 a.m. here. You're watching Rebel Roundup. I'm your host, Sheila Gunn Reid. It's our daily, completely unscripted news and opinion show, and I'm joined by my very best friend in the entire world from Regina, Saskatchewan, Lise Merle, and we are fresh off a win in the Yukon for their Conservative Party, the Yukon Party. Very exciting.
What a spectacular evening of live streaming we had here last night. Thanks so much to the thousands of people that tuned in with us.
Yeah.
And congratulations to the Yukon this morning. This is not only a win for the people of the Yukon, but it is a win for all Conservatives across the nation of Canada. And this has some really, really interesting opportunities between the Yukon and Conservative provinces. So, what a great day.
Yeah, I mean, and besides it being a win for conservatives, I think also, and maybe even more importantly,
Oh.
a devastating loss for the Liberals and their enablers in the NDP.
They got absolutely smoked.
Yeah,
Just smoked. Liberals. Ooh.
overnight it looks like they got one seat uh, by
Oh,
about
did it
six
toggle?
votes.
It
Uh,
toggled back, hey? Because
no,
last
it
night,
was a completely different one in the north.
right, right.
So,
Oh, okay. So yeah,
so
it was a very late night last night. So we have the official results, and it couldn't be better for the Yukon in any
yeah.
case.
Yep. And we'll get reaction from, of course, Pierre Poilievre, Daniel Smith, and Scott Moe, because we've got a new partner in fighting with the feds, which is a delight. Also, it is federal budget day today. So Mark Carney has to
Hmm.
deliver a budget in the face of him losing a provincial slash territorial ally. There's only one liberal premier, if you're not counting Doug Ford, and I do count
Mhm.
him as a liberal. We've got Susan Holt out in the far east. Old Suze is
Just
holding
on an
down the fort.
just floating on an iceberg by herself,
Yeah.
just alone, marooned on an iceberg. That's how effective she's going to be, because the country is quickly returning to common sense, and the Yukon is proof of that.
Yeah, we're going back to equilibrium, I think. And then also today, the teachers are challenging parental rights, and BC uh, pumping the brakes on their tariff ad. We'll get to that. Apparently, David Eby, the NDP premier there, had proposed to just follow in uh,
Doug Ford's footsteps.
his big clumsy clown shoes and produce a tariff ad to serve it up to Americans to
Mhm.
consume via their media. And he's decided that even Doug Ford's missteps are too great for him to repeat. So we'll get to
Mm.
that. Um, and if those of you out there who are watching the show want to become involved in the show, because without you, there's really no Rebel News,
Yeah.
you can do that via a paid chat on a couple of different platforms. So if you're watching us on Rumble, thanks for supporting us there. You can leave a Rumble rant. That's their paid chat. If it's over the $5 US cutoff, we'll do our best. uh, what am I saying? If it's over the $5 US cutoff, we must read it on air. If it's under that, we'll do our very best. And I promise you, regular viewers know we almost always make time. And even if your chats come in a little late, we don't see them. We also do our best to read them the very next day. So that's the rules on Rumble. Over on YouTube, their paid chat is called a super chat. Same rules apply. But if you are watching the recorded version of the show and you feel so compelled by our witty banter that you'd like to support us, you can do that by leaving a paid comment called a super
Mhm.
thanks. There's a moth in my studio. That is what you saw fly past my camera, and now it's sitting on my box lights, and it's very irritating. And I just can't wait till my little cat comes in here flying to eat that moth and just causing chaos. So if my camera goes flying, it's not an earthquake, it's Trigger, the orange cat rubbing both of his brain cells together. All right, let's get to Yukon recap because it went late and we just didn't feel good about keeping our sweet Efron in the studio by himself
Yes.
after I had told all the scary stories about the local Wendigo and then the Wendigo up the road. And so he was a little bit like, ooh, and it was already 12:30 Toronto time, and
Yes.
we already knew who had won by majority in the Yukon, and we just thought, you know what, we'll get to the speeches tomorrow, which we
Mhm.
will. Efron, if you look on the CCFR's page, their social media, they have a clip of Curry Dixon, the shiny
Mm.
new premier of the Yukon, delivering his acceptance speech. I care not so much to listen to the NDP talk about how they ran the best campaign ever and they're going to fight for healthcare or whatever.
Mhm.
Maybe we want to let's show this and then we'll get into the leaders' reactions. But this normal looking, vibrant, youngish fella, he's the brand new premier of the Yukon, and I am very excited for our friends to the north.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Geraldine. And thank you all for the very, very warm welcome. I'm so proud to be here. What a night and what a result. Tonight, Yukoners chose to move on from the status quo. They chose a new path. They chose change. Yukoners chose a strong majority Yukon Party government. Thank you. I'm so proud of the campaign that we've run. We have stayed positive and we've stayed focused. We've focused on our team and on our vision, and Yukoners rewarded us for that. So to our entire campaign team, candidates, and everyone in this room, thank you. The results of this election show very clearly that Yukoners want a change. They want a change to address our housing crisis. They want our healthcare infrastructure to keep up with our population growth and our health system to meet the needs of all Yukoners regardless of what community they live in. They've told us they want to see the downtown core of Whitehorse cleaned up and made safe, and for changes in our judicial system to offer justice for victims, to ensure that those who break the law are held accountable. And they've told us that we need to get our economy back on track, to put growth of the private sector at the forefront of our agenda. The Yukon government should no longer be an impediment to the growth of the private sector. It should create the conditions for growth, focus on doing what governments do well, and get out of the way of private industry.
Yes.
Yukoners have told us that they want to see this change, and the good news is that change is here. The next 4 years will require some difficult decisions, the tackling of some big challenges, and navigating the instability that has come to define the world today. And we know that we can't do that alone. We need to do that by working with other levels of government, the federal government, First Nations governments, and municipal governments to face those challenges. Through this election, Yukoners have entrusted us, myself and those Yukon Party candidates, many of whom are here tonight, that were elected, with the task of leading us through those challenges. And for that, I'm extremely grateful and proud. A huge thank you to Brittany's family for taking me in, even though being related to me comes with a whole bunch of unexpected baggage. I love you as well. And last but certainly not least, I'm grateful to my own family, to Brittany, London, and Dawson. It goes without saying.
London.
Dawson. He named his boy after a city in the north.
Yeah, he sure did. Yep.
I think it goes without saying that I couldn't do any of this without your support, patience, and love. I'm especially thankful for Brittany's willingness to show restraint in her comments on social media and for her willingness to carry grudges on my behalf. And to London and Dawson for always cheering for me as well. Love you lots.
Aww.
Tonight, I think it's important that we celebrate our shared accomplishment. But it should not be far from any of our minds that the work to deliver the change that Yukoners have asked for starts immediately. So thank you to everyone here tonight for joining us and for celebrating with us, for helping to deliver a Yukon Party majority government and the opportunity to help create a brighter future for all of us and for this beautiful territory that we all call home. So thank you very much. I look forward to Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, just lovely. How lovely was that? Like that was a perfect the perfect example of how conservatism must evolve. Here's a young guy with a young family. P.S. From
Good
what
looking
he said,
family.
oh, just gorgeous. And you know what was so beautiful was in the background is his wife kissing the heads of his children right behind him. And from what he said, I definitely want to know Brittany Dixon. Okay, I feel like we would have a lot in common.
I feel like
Um,
he's got himself a little bit of an Anna Polyev with a mouth.
yes,
which is
yes,
which is I like that. That's exactly
yes.
how the conservative moms are.
Yes, and to know that that's who's in his influential circle
Yeah,
is really great. Now, make no mistake, Curry Dixon has a little bit of a steep climb, has some
yeah,
hard work to do because he's going to be trying to undo all of the harms
yeah.
of the Liberal government's bad decisions for the past, 8 years in the Yukon, and so his team is going to have their work cut out for them. But conservatives aren't afraid of hard work.
No,
Give yourself a minute to get accustomed to your new roles and just give her.
yeah,
Just give her.
yeah. And he hit on the things that conservatives across the country care about:
Hmm.
drugs, public safety, private sector versus the public
Public
sector.
sector
Um,
investment, yes.
Yeah, like not getting in the way of resource development and drugs and crime. Like he said, we got to clean up the downtown. Amen. Every single
Hmm.
downtown of every single town in this country should be cleaned up. And I'm glad that he has sort of a take back the street mentality. And by the way, the energy there compared to old Mike Pemberton
Oh,
uh, from the Liberal Party, I actually have very little memory of what anything that Mike Pemberton said
oh,
other than
remember.
his land acknowledgement at the
Okay.
beginning.
Those two speeches, the concession speech from the Liberals, the sad, awful, like wet blanket of a concession speech,
Oh,
started with a land acknowledgement. So even though they absolutely got eviscerated, they are
right.
clinging to their virtue signaling that got them voted out. And so
Right.
it was actually so refreshing to see premier elect of the
Curry
Yukon,
Dixon.
Curry Dixon, starting his remarks without a land acknowledgement. It was refreshing. We don't
But
need land acknowledgements.
exactly. And it's not like he is writing Indigenous people out of the equation. He said we
No.
have to work with
Yes.
municipal governments, Indigenous governments to get this province, or
Yep.
pardon me, the territory back
Territory.
on track. That's reconciliation, working with them,
Yes, it
seeing what
is.
their community needs, and then delivering on those. And I am of the mind that Indigenous communities need what every community needs:
Well, if
public
you
safety,
yes.
investment, jobs, paved
Yeah.
roads,
Yeah.
you know?
If you think of land acknowledgements, like Mike Pemberton did last night, the liberal Mike Pemberton did last night, it sounds like he's bragging. You know what I mean? Every time that there is a land acknowledgement,
I
it
know.
sounds like that person is bragging for the terrible things they did. And
Right.
that's how I perceive them.
Right, for sure. Now let's
Mhm.
so anyways, exciting times. And I can't wait to see what this means for the West to have an ally in a territorial government. Very exciting. They do have access to tidewater up there. Just a
Oh,
thought.
oh, oh, Sheila, are you saying that the Yukon would be an ideal partner for the province of Alberta and the province of Saskatchewan to
Yeah.
solve our landlockedness?
Yeah, well, it would be nice. I mean, considering if BC says no, we'll just keep going north.
I
Like
mean,
we'll
it's an
just
option now.
it's an option now, except we've got that tanker ban.
Well, no.
For now.
If we
For
can get
now.
it to the Yukon, we can get it to Alaska, and that's what I'm going with. Okay, we're
Yeah.
going north.
I don't care if we put it in an Alaska tanker and it goes south. I mean, there's
I
no
like
ban by the way, there's no ban on Alaskan tankers. It's just
I
Canadian
like
tankers.
I like northern trade routes, I like southern trade routes.
Yeah.
We gotta, well, with this new government in place in the Yukon, the chance of that happening is just exponentially increased overnight.
I
So
think a lot of things just got on the table
oh yeah,
overnight.
yeah.
Let's hear what Pierre Poilievre has to say, because a lot of the things that Curry Dixon said sound very similar to what Pierre Poilievre's been saying. Big win from the Klondike. Congratulations to Premier Designate Curry Dixon and the Yukon Party team on earning a strong majority mandate from the voters. Let's work together for jobs that pay more and homes and food that cost less for all Yukoners.
Amen.
I also saw, and I'm very sorry that I didn't notice at the time, Ted LeKing. I think he used to work in communications for the former premier, like the Premier Kozlowski. He was elected MLA. So very exciting. He's a good dude.
Huh. Excellent.
Daniel Smith says congratulations to Premier-elect Curry Dixon and his Yukon Party on their majority government victory. I'm looking forward to working with the new Premier-elect to build stronger partnerships in Western Canada.
Indeed.
And Scott Moe. Congratulations to Curry Dixon on being sworn in. Was he sworn in? I don't think he was sworn in. He was just elected.
Scott Moe, just a quick sec.
We jumped the gun there, buddy.
We need to really look at who's crafting these tweets, because number one, you didn't tag Curry Dixon, which is the
exactly.
Okay, if you are congratulating the premier elect of the Yukon, you tag their account to make them visible to all of your followers.
Sworn in.
He was not sworn in.
He was elected last Unless night. Something happened between like midnight and 8 a.m. that I don't know about.
It's like shotgun swearing in. Bam! Yeah. He's in the building. In any case, the sentiment is very nice. Scott Moe just might want to instruct your social media team to be more careful. But this is a really nice sentiment. And yes, the opportunity for Scott Moe to make relationships with the new government in the Yukon is absolutely on the table now. And if Scott Moe does anything really, really well, it is develop trade relationships.
Yeah.
He is excellent at that. I don't know if Scott Moe has given any thought to what he wants to do like after he's done being Premier of Saskatchewan, but I would suggest that he would stay our absolute Saskatchewan trade ambassador, because he does an absolutely magnificent job. And Saskatchewan, we want Saskatchewan products to be open to the world. So I look forward to Scott Moe visiting the Yukon.
I mean, he could get the office across the hall from Nathan Cooper, who is Alberta's envoy in Washington, who is working with the Trump administration. Just get the office across the hall, and they could just be the Western Canadian bloc.
He'd be so good at it. I'm telling you. And we need to keep this economic momentum going. Yeah.
Moving on from that, it's budget day. And I have no knowledge of what to expect other than Mark Carney saying, what did he say the other day? Maybe we could dig it up. It was like, we're giving you back your future. And it was like, are you just admitting you took it from us in the first place?
Was that an admission of guilt that I just heard? Yeah.
I think this is it. It's 2 minutes and 18 seconds. We don't necessarily have to listen to it all, but it was like, it's our country and we're giving it back to you. Don't look so sinister. Mr. Burnsy.
Look at, please, Efren, put us side by side of Mark Carney and Mr. Burns here. Just
it's the osteoporotic posture that really gets me. Like, maybe there is something wrong with his bones, but could we get him a back brace? Could we do that? Does he have scoliosis? I will pray for his health if he has scoliosis. Sounds terrible, but could we shoot him from a different angle? Like get somebody to take your picture from a different angle so you don't look so frail and insect-like.
Yeah, like praying mantis. Okay, everybody.
He's like an 87-year-old woman with low bone density. Trump is out there golfing and staying up all night, dancing and eating McDonald's, and I think a wind might take this guy out.
Hmm. Yeah.
A sniffle.
Yes.
Anyways, let's listen to one of his promotions of the budget, which I have no idea. Are they going to be spendy to try to rein in the NDP onto their side? Or are they going to actually try to get the economy under control? Why start now, guys?
Yeah.
Like, why? You've been burning her down for almost 11 years. Why start now?
Yeah.
I have zero predictions about the budget, and I don't have an embargoed copy of it, so I can't even hint at anything.
Hmm.
Let's listen to this.
It's your future, and we are going to give it back to you.
You took it.
For decades, Canada's economy became more closely linked to the United States. The U.S. is the world's largest economy, so on the one hand, that created tons of new business and jobs for us. But it also meant that when things change suddenly for the worse down there, it causes big problems up here. And it's
Suddenly
hard to
for the
control what
worse
happens
is how
next.
he
As
described
Prime
the
Minister,
election of Trump.
my number one focus is to put Canadians back in control by building here at home and building new partnerships abroad, so that we're not reliant on the United States. To do that, we will have to make some difficult choices, responsible choices. Federal government spending has grown massively over the last few years. That's not sustainable. We will cut wasteful government spending. We'll make massive investments in the things that grow our economy. Homes, new ports, electricity grids, the major infrastructure that will unlock the full potential of Canada. We've built big before. In the 1950s, Canada set out to build the St. Lawrence Seaway. It cost us the equivalent of about $4 billion in today's money. Since then,
You know how much it'll
the
cost,
Seaway
like
has
50
shipped
billion
more than
now.
$1 trillion worth of cargo to the world. Tens of thousands of Canadians, trade workers, business owners, and their employees have gone to work every day because of that Seaway. We're going to build big things again. When we do, we're going to use Canadian steel, Canadian aluminum, lumber, technology, and Canadian workers to do it. Only 40% of the steel bought here in Canada is made here in Canada. We'll change that. We'll be our own best customer, and we're going to sell to the world. Yes, we'll keep trading with the US, but we will double what we export to everywhere else. We'll make generational investments to protect our communities, our borders, our way of life. Investments to build a stronger economy where everyone has a chance to get
Okay,
ahead.
that's
And
enough.
invest-
Yeah. What I hear Mark Carney trying to say here is, I am in control. We are going to take control. We are going to be in control. And really, what this is damage control because of what Doug Ford did with our relationship with the United States. That's what I hear, is he knows that our belly is showing. He knows that we're vulnerable to the to the tariff negotiations with the United States. And he's promoting this circular economy that really doesn't make sense. We'll become our own best customer. So you're going to spend billions of taxpayer dollars on projects that private industry would take on if you would just get out of the way. That's what I heard out of that. Like, ooh, it's going to be, I think it's going to be ugly, the budget,
Uh,
just based on that.
yeah, and he's been in charge. It feels like forever, but it also feels like yesterday that he got elected, and I think that's because nothing has been done. They've
No,
literally done
nothing.
nothing. We're going to be our
Nothing.
own best customers. Okay, what have you done to tear down interprovincial trade barriers?
Right. Right.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, like you say, we can't secede, we can't leave the country, but you're already treating us like a bunch of Balkan states anyway, with
Mhm,
all these interprovincial trade barriers. What is the point of confederation if
mhm.
we can't get anything done and we can't even trade amongst ourselves?
Yeah.
He's had time to fix that. Why are you just even talking about it now? And you can say it, but it's not real. It's not
Well,
real. You've done nothing.
I'm sure that if Mark Carney weren't on the aristocratic private jet global tour of photo ops, maybe he would have had time to address this. But let's be real. That's not what Mark Carney is interested in. Mark Carney is interested in traveling across the globe,
Yeah, he's interested in
showboating.
Mark Carney.
Exactly. Showboating for his super uppity and fancy friends and ignoring the increasingly loud pleas of Canadians to do something about
Al-
all of these issues. So,
Also,
uh,
who in the sweet F wrote that ad? Was it Doug Ford's guy?
yes,
Because
it sounds like it. It sounds like it. He's minimizing what, not, excuse me, not minimizing what Doug Ford said, but trying to take control of the narrative, trying to lessen the
except
blow.
I feel like the language he used actually makes it worse. So first of all, we're going to give
Mm,
you back your future. You guys have been in charge for damn near 11 years. Are you admitting that you
absolutely.
took our futures?
No,
Because
actually, they said the
we said
quiet part out
that.
loud there. Yes.
We've been
Yes.
saying that.
Yes.
But also he says when things took a drastic turn for the worse in the
Ooh,
United States. That's a hell of a way to talk about the election of Donald Trump
sure.
in the middle of a trade negotiation.
Oh,
One would think.
is that how, oh, I thought it was addressing, that's interesting. I thought it was addressing when Doug Ford crapped the bed with our American trade
No, I think
negotiations.
he's talking about when things took a turn for the worst in the United States. He said in the United States, not with the United States. And I think that's very important language because that means he's describing the
It's,
Donald Trump presidency and
yes,
not anything stupid that Doug Ford might have done.
that's an astute observation,
Thank
Sheila
you.
Gunn
I'm paid
Reid.
for them. That's what I'm paid for around here. And I also noticed that he said something about cutting wasteful government spending. I want to
Mhm.
show you something that came on my desk this morning. And this is a
Oh,
sneak peek of what I'm working on as soon as we hang up from this call. It's an order paper question. And
mhm.
as you know, order paper question days, they're very hectic days for Sheila around here. Why? Because I'm trying to beat my friends over at Blacklocks to covering them all. So I'm frantic. And everyone at the company is like, how do you write so fast? I'm like, I'm scared of Tom Korski. I have to write faster. Um, so this is an order paper. So for those of you who don't know, you can get information from the government in a couple of different ways. If you are not an MP, you file for
Mhm.
access to information where you will be lied to. That's a story that I'll have coming tomorrow. We caught them in a lie. They told us one thing and then they said in an order paper question an entirely different thing. And if you lie in an order paper question, you're lying to the House, and that's a big, big, big trouble. But you could just lie to people who file for access, I guess, without any real
Um,
repercussions
in the
besides my
new
complaints to
country,
the commissioner.
in the new country, there will also be really, really, really big repercussions for public servants that aren't truthful with
Yeah.
people filing information claims. There should be no distance between taxpayer funded bureaucrats and the information they have and the taxpayers themselves. There should be absolutely no secrets there and yet. So what did you
Okay.
find?
So, anyways, further to that point, I will be filing a complaint over that.
Mm,
Um, so if we want to bring up this order paper question, just on the topic of wasteful government spending.
please.
So the Major Projects Office, so this is the thing that's attached to Bill C5.
Okay.
So this is the office that is supposed to expedite these nation building projects, which
Mhm.
again, I reiterate, what is nation building for me? And what is nation building for the Liberals and their hand-selected person in charge
Right.
are two vastly different things. So I forget her name, but the lady in charge of this office, she was at TransAlta,
Oh.
which was is an electricity producer here, but
Mhm.
worked very closely with the NDP to get us off coal way faster than we should have. I disagree that we should ever have gotten off coal.
Mm.
But she worked to get it done faster, bragged about it, and now we have rolling brownouts when it gets really cold. That's her. She did that.
Huh.
So the Office of Major Projects, which is supposed to be working hard right away to get all these nation building projects done.
Mhm.
Pipelines, no, you can't have those though. Um,
Yeah.
so this is an order paper filed by a conservative MP for Vaughan Woodbridge, Michael Guglielmin. I apologize in advance for butchering your name. But he asked, how many government officials are employed at this office
Mm,
outside of the officer, the lady in charge of the office.
right.
And it is one. So one bureaucrat. Now, normally I'm like, okay, I don't like an
One.
entire government agency created, but this was like their big C5. We're going to scale up and get things done. And they have literally one government official employed by the office as the senior advisor to the chief executive officer.
Interesting.
So we know that this office is located in Calgary. It's supposed to shut us up. So we have the chief executive officer and the one person.
This
Now,
is so much like the Liberals announcing our fentanyl czar. Do you
Yeah.
remember that, Canada? When the United States started asking pointed questions of the government of Canada regarding fentanyl coming into the United States from Canada, and Canada's response was to appoint a fentanyl czar, and this was going to be the guy that was stopping the fentanyl. He was going to get the job done. What was his name? Sheila Brazeau, something Brazeau.
yeah, I don't.
And then absolutely nothing happened. Nobody has heard from our fentanyl czar. Nobody knows what gains we've made out of creating the role of the fentanyl czar. So just like that useless promotion of a person to say and appear like they're doing something about a problem, this is what they've done here.
Ma'am,
They've-
this gets worse. This gets
Oh.
worse because, again, I actually read the order papers. I'm going to write
Okay.
this up because I'm getting this. Consider this me doing the video, you guys.
Okay.
So it was Dawn Farrell. She was at TransAlta. That was the lady, and she's sort of well connected. They don't even have an office space yet. The law was passed in the last sitting. Dawn Farrell was selected as the CEO June 26th. They don't have an office yet.
Oh,
Square
same as-
footage will be confirmed once the permanent location is identified. Sister, it gets worse. What's the office's budget? So remember, we've got 2 people working there.
Right.
As of September 16th, the budget to support the major projects office for fiscal year 2025-2026 is nearly $20 million. Wait, we're not done yet. This is composed of 3 million in salary. $5.3 million in salary. There's 2 people working in this office and they don't even have an office space yet. And 12 million in non-salary, as well as 2.3 million in costs for the employee benefit plan. 2 people work in this office. 2.
Jesus, take the wheel.
I know.
Jesus,
put her
take
in
the
the
wheel.
rhubarb. Yeah.
You gotta yank out. Jesus, take the wheel, yank it to the left, put it in the ditch. What is even happening here?
Yeah.
And yet the Liberal government would stand up in front of their fancy, podiums and say, we are doing everything we can to expedite the major projects office in Canada is going to build. And we are going to be our own best customer. And we're going to make sure. Look at this.
No contracts were signed.
I mean, what a great example for the people of Canada to understand just how inefficient and completely out of touch their government is with them.
I would have done this for half that much. While doing everything else that I do around here and working on an Afghan. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. And so when he sits down and says, we're going to cut government waste, what are we? July, August, September, October, November, 5 months. They don't even have an office space. It's Calgary. 1/3 of the commercial retail space downtown is sitting vacant.
Yes.
Find something. Just go find the Encana office. Just move directly into there. They have an assistant to the CEO and the CEO Dawn Farrell, and you guys just saw the salaries and the budget, and they've done literally nothing with it.
just incredible.
We're going to cut government waste. And this is just what I know of. This is the only, I know of this because somebody asked an order paper question.
It was an awesome question.
Yeah.
Like, did that
very
one pay
clever.
off? Well
very
done.
clever. Yeah. Anyway, one of the ridiculous traditions, I'm not sure we're going to keep this in the new country, is how the finance minister buys new shoes for the budget day and makes a big, like, stupid show out of it.
It's so dumb.
It's so dumb.
I'm so over it. You know what? At this point, with the economy in the condition that it's in right now, I want you resoling your old shoes. No new shoes for everybody.
I want to see you in Crocs. I don't care.
Hand-me-down shoes. That is what I want to see.
Go to the Goodwill.
Yeah.
Get some shoes. Get some mink oil. Buff them up. I need a Goodwill shoe. But instead, he gets Francois Philippe Champagne gets made in Canada by Canadians for Canadians, ready for tomorrow. Made in Canada by Canadians for Canadians. I'm just glad they're not ladies flu vlogs or whatever.
Flu vlogs.
Yeah.
Flu vlogs. Aside from the color, it still looks like a clown shoe to me.
Well, so, isn't that funny? Because if we scroll down, somebody photoshops a clown shoe in.
Perfect. That's exact. That nothing could be closer to the truth than that. Look. Yeah, perfect. But there is, just speaking of politicians and shoes, there is a way to tell with politicians to see if they are if they're reading the room, and shoes that are colorful, shoes that are festive, socks that are festive, okay, that tells me if you're in festive socks while the economy is circling the toilet and our country is in shambles and you're wearing fancy socks, okay, that tells me, that's a red flag for me that you're completely out of touch with the rest of the country.
Yep. Before we hit an ad break, let's go to Doug Ford's markedly different reaction to Curry Dixon winning. Thank you for digging this up.
Ooh.
Doug Ford says something the other premiers didn't. Noticeably absent. Doug Ford says, congratulations to Curry Dixon and the Yukon Party on last night's election victory. Looking forward to working together to strengthen ties between Yukon and Ontario. Okay, fine. I also want to thank Mike Pemberton for his partnership throughout his time as premier.
Oh.
Including on priorities like unlocking free trade within Canada.
Oh. That's some serious arse kissing right there. The other premiers did not mention the form. Oh, no. Crazy. This is public liberal arse kissing via Doug Ford, or as we like to call him, man bear pig. Remember?
Man bear pig. And I think I just put it in the chat, Olivia. Curry Dixon. Somebody points out that Curry Dixon is absolutely nothing like Doug Ford, because instead of trying to sabotage the Conservative campaign, Curry Dixon worked to advance the Conservative campaign in the last election. And so this is March 25th of this year. This is what Curry Dixon was tweeting. Below is the letter I sent to Prime Minister Mark Carney last week, just before the federal election was called. Over the past 8 years, Canadians have witnessed an ideologically driven, performative, and ineffective policy and legislative agenda in regards to firearms in Canada. Regardless of what happens in the federal election, I intend to bring forward territorial legislation to push back against this agenda to protect the property rights of Yukoners and reflect the important role that firearms play in the culture and society of the Yukon. Whichever party forms the next government, I urge them to focus on taking meaningful action to target criminals, gangs, and the import of illegal weapons, not targeting law-abiding gun owners and seizing private property. That's Curry Dixon on the warpath for the Conservatives in the last election, unlike Doug Ford, who did everything he could to sabotage them.
Interesting. Curry Dixon should take note that Doug Ford went out of his way to stroke the hurt feelings of his liberal pal. who's outgoing. Curry Dixon should pay
Who
attention
didn't
to
have a
this.
seat, by the way. He didn't have a seat. Like, he was an unelected premier.
And yet, to hear Doug Ford tell it, he was a lifelong bosom pal. Curry Dixon should take note of that.
Yeah,
he should absolutely beware of that. Yep.
Let's hit an ad break, and we'll come back with BC being BC and go through a few other things, including the Regina Teachers Convention, which I'm sure you're full of things to say.
I can't wait.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Gun bans make great distractions.
Trudeau may be gone, but Carney has picked up his same
We
rhetoric.
will quickly, and I mean quickly, reinvigorate the buyback of
Hunters, collectors, competitors, and defenders of tradition are still being targeted, while criminals run wild under Liberal policy. But we are fighting back. Join us, Canada's National Firearms Association, in defense of freedom.
Big news, Rebel News now has premium memberships on X, Locals, and right here on YouTube. For just $4.99 a month on YouTube, you'll get loyalty badges, custom emojis, and access to members-only chats during our live streams. At $8.99 a month, you'll also unlock Rebel News Plus shows and our documentaries. But here's the catch. YouTube could cancel that premium tier at any time. That's why the best way to support us is at rebelnewsplus.com. It's just $8 a month, cheaper if you go annual, and you'll get exclusive extras like an ad-free site, comments access, and even the chance to submit op-eds. Wherever you join us, thanks for keeping our independent journalism alive and strong.
You like the hat? Me too. Same strong message about making Canada great again, but in a really cool color, black and gold. There's other colors available, and it's an all Canadian site. So if you want to signal your tribe or trigger a Liberal, go to mcgahats.ca today.
Okay, so let's go to BC before we get to teachers being terrible. BC is saying that they won't launch an anti-tariff ad targeted at Americans until it's aligned with Ottawa. So he's now seeking permission from the Liberals to do what he thinks is best, which, I mean, why even be the premier then? Like, look, I don't think he should be doing this ad. This is stupid. Don't do it.
Yes.
But you're asking permission from Mark Carney to do this. Aren't you the premier?
Like, don't you get to decide how BC operates? Like, this is I mean, David,
like, why do we even have you then? Like,
that's right. If you're just the errand boy of the federal government.
Right. So, and he sort of admits that here. So this is how he gets away with being able to block a pipeline.
On the advertisements, we've committed to the federal government that when the time comes to be speaking directly to Americans, we'll do it in partnership with them. We will not be running the ads by ourselves. We'll make sure that we're in line with strategy going forward. And that is a recognition on our part of the efforts that were made today around the table for us to work together as a team, integrated provincial and federal government, with our table, focusing on the future of the industry, how we reduce our dependence on the United States, and the present of the industry, how we support those workers and businesses to be able to survive and ultimately to thrive in a new environment.
What? You know, like, I'm kind of speechless because the only premier, well, outside of Scott Moe, I think that has made any real progress in dealing with the Americans is Danielle Smith.
Yes.
She didn't ask the Fed's permission to do what she did, and that was going to speak directly to the Republicans and continuing to speak directly to them and going on the networks that Republicans watch, not CNN, not MSNBC, going on Fox. She had success, and yet these guys can't understand how that success came to be. They're so ideologically driven that they will just cost thousands of jobs because of their crazy, crazy Trump hate. And now you've got premiers going to the prime minister saying, pretty please, how do we do this? Tell us how to premier, please.
Govern me harder, Daddy. Like, that's what David Eby just asked. I mean,
I don't know what's going on there.
Where are your balls, David Eby?
And again, I reiterate, I'm super glad he's not doing this ad. Free advice again. Whatever you're paying the consultants, I'll do it for half. Don't do this ad. It will be bad. Don't do it.
Disaster. Yes.
Anyway, he also has his hands full with the Cowichan Nation land grab in Richmond.
This is a very, very tenuous situation happening in BC.
So, for those of you who don't know, the Supreme Court has given title, I guess, Indigenous title to the Cowichan Nation of a huge chunk of very valuable, a lot of it residential land where people's houses are.
In Richmond, BC, yes.
In Richmond. So this is a big, huge problem. And David Eby said that the court assured them that the court would make a decision that didn't affect landowners, but now we're hearing that people are not able to remortgage their home.
Can you imagine going to renew the mortgage on your house?
And they're like, you don't own this.
And they notify you that somebody else owns your property?
You're still paying a mortgage on. Like you're still obligated to pay the mortgage on, but somebody else owns it.
Yep. This impacts tens of thousands of BC families. And actually it has broader implications in that this standard, as declared by the Supreme Court of BC, puts every other property owner in British Columbia at risk.
Right. Because they don't have treaties in place. It's just terrible. We've got Premier Eby weighing in on this. And from what I understand, when the BC government was sort of going through this court case, on two separate occasions, they had the opportunity to notify homeowners and didn't. So they were blindsided with it.
This is going to become problematic at the Court of Appeals, where lawyers representing the homeowners are going to say they had no idea that this was happening in the background in our court system. They had no idea that they were going to be impacted in this regard, and they are
the stakeholders.
The key stakeholders. Right. The key stakeholders. So do we have clips of David Eby getting
we do.
Okay, watch the guys in the background. Watch how uncomfortable they are. Go on, Leslie.
Obviously, this is a moment of huge anxiety for homeowners that are in the claim area, as well as business owners that have land in this area. The court decision, the court assured us that they would make a decision that didn't affect landowners in the claim area, so they didn't have to be served. They didn't have to be told about the case, that it was going ahead in court. Unfortunately, that obviously turned out not to be the case. So one of the pieces of information that we're seeking to gather is from property owners in the area If they're running into impacts that are related to financing or other related issues, it's helpful for us to know. We're applying to the court for something called a stay, which is a pause and a stop on the decision until the Court of Appeal has a chance to consider that. That's important evidence for the court to be able to hear. I understand why people are anxious. I would be anxious. But I want to reassure people we are going to court. We're bringing forward any information that we have. Currently, to date, we don't have information that banks are reluctant to loan in relation to these properties. It would be helpful for us if that is in fact the case to be able to get that information from the homeowners. People still own their properties. You still are able to sell your properties.
They don't.
But the uncertainty, I recognize, is a serious issue, and we need to resolve that as quickly as possible, which is why we've been expediting our work at the Court of Appeal to be able to get there.
You know, David Eby has spent the last more than handful of years overly prioritizing the indigenization of British Columbia.
Yep.
And all of his chickens are coming home to roost in the same moment. What David Eby said there was a response to a problem David Eby created.
Right.
And all of the headaches of the people of Richmond can be laid at the feet of Premier David Eby.
He's saying they still own their property. Well, I believe that is in serious dispute, that they can still sell their property. Who the hell would buy it?
Right?
Who would get financing to buy that property? You can't get a mortgage, a remortgage on your property. How is a buyer going to get a mortgage for a property whose ownership is at best in dispute? But according to the court, actually owned by somebody else.
This is another great example of Canada's activist judiciary doing all of the wrong things in all of the wrong order just to have it blow up on the people that are relying on these institutions to make sound judgments. I mean, just
this is why we put property rights in the Alberta Bill of Rights.
Well,
this is why.
Need to at this point.
Well, yeah. I mean, the province has an obligation to make sure that your property just isn't stolen from you by an activist court.
Right.
You know, and these are also the same people who, like the NDP, object constantly to the use of the notwithstanding clause to override the activist courts. But this seems like a good point in which you could use it.
I've been saying for the better part, well, since the notwithstanding clause was wielded in Saskatchewan for parental rights laws, we should normalize the use of the notwithstanding clause to distance, to create a firewall between the people of Canada and these activist judges, justices.
Well, we just saw this with the, I'm going to say, child abuse images. I'm trying to be very careful with my language. Where they struck down the mandatory minimums on it. And then they advanced a hypothetical situation that was not part of the ruling whatsoever as the reason to strike it down.
Sheila, this is how they operate.
Right.
So they're allowed to put forward realistic hypotheticals and put worst case scenarios.
The left does this all the time with all sorts of social issues, right?
They did it with parental rights in Saskatchewan. They did this.
They do it with abortion, right?
Same playbook. Exactly. Using the notwithstanding clause should be absolutely normalized because we are all acknowledging the gross overreach of our federal institutions.
Is this a video, Efron? Wob Canoe, he said that people caught with child abuse images should be buried under the prison. I agree with him. I just wish that had been the first thing that he had said with regard to this, because I think he initially came out. Did he initially come out against the use of the notwithstanding clause? I can't remember. He did. Maybe he didn't.
I don't think they did. The left does not like the use of the notwithstanding clause.
Yeah,
they reject it. So that he would eventually get around to saying this is actually pretty spectacular. Would I have liked to hear a conservative premier say exactly this? Yes. My premier say exactly yes.
Mine kind of did.
Did she?
Yeah.
Did she?
Yeah.
What'd she say?
She came out strongly against this. Maybe we can dig up some of the tweets, but basically
Okay.
saying these people are the worst of the worst. And if we are to use the notwithstanding clause, this is one of those times where it's an absolute must.
Yeah, Scott Moe said something similar. He believes in the role that legislators play in creating this policy and not having an activist judiciary do it on behalf of the people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it sounds like they're all on the same page. It sounds like we are getting to a point where we're all acknowledging, even publicly with our elected officials, that something has gone terribly, terribly wrong in our justice system.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Let's pivot slightly to good school systems, bad school systems. Let's start in Alberta because I said good first.
Okay.
In Alberta, we're actually, it's funny because we do this interesting thing where we actually listen to the fake complaints of the teachers union and then turn them around on them and say, okay, we fixed it. Now what?
Right.
And so one of the reasons the teachers were on strike for 3 weeks, according to them, like, I know it's all about money. And I would just wish that they would be honest with me. Just say it's about money. Don't make it about the kids. I know it's not about the kids, so be quiet.
Yes.
But one of the reasons they said was, that it's classrooms are complex and kids are falling behind too soon. And so how do we do? So we need more teachers to be able to deal with that. And the province said, you don't need more teachers. You need standardized testing in real things like literacy and numeracy
and math. Yes.
Math and reading and writing. So they took the complaints of the teachers and said, like literally within days of legislating them back to work and saying, this is what we're doing now. So early math and reading screenings for young students. This is kindergarten, I think, to grade 3. Mandatory testing to see where they're at. So to create early interventions for the kids. Putting kids first, always kids first. So the teachers, this was one of their complaints. So they dealt with it without actually having to give teachers a raise. How do you like them apples? And then, so moving forward to Saskatchewan, where you guys have yet to rein in the madness of the teachers' unions over there.
Yeah.
The keynote speaker, I wrote about this when you flagged this to me when she was chosen as the keynote speaker.
Announced as the keynote, yes.
Yeah, maybe I'll let you run with this. You go ahead.
Okay, well, like in many other jurisdictions in Canada, Saskatchewan teachers are given about 10 days a year to work on professional development. So yesterday on Monday was a professional development day and the Regina Teachers Convention, which was hosted by the Regina Public School Teachers Association. And this included the Catholic School Teachers Association, and their keynote speaker, Dr. Shannon Moore, came to Regina to lecture all of the teachers about the illegitimacy of the parental rights movement and ended her address. This is from Just Bins, by the way. Ended her address with an invitation for teachers to attend drag queen performance this weekend in protest of Bill 137. Bill 137 is Saskatchewan's Parents' Bill of Rights. We actually do have parental rights laws in Saskatchewan. So for her to promote this misinformation and disinformation to Regina teachers is egregious in itself. But then she goes on to promote a drag performance. And just so we're all on the same page, drag is inherently rooted in hypersexualized adult entertainment, often featuring exaggerated eroticism, lewd gestures, and themes unsuitable for children. Educators who perform in or endorse drag events signal a red flag for parents, as it's obvious that these activists are prioritizing ideological agendas over age-appropriate boundaries. It's entirely uncontroversial for parents to demand that schools shield students from this kind of influence and this kind of indoctrination. It's not controversial to suggest that parents don't want their kids indoctrinated by people who are participating in hypersexualized, some would say deviant forms of adult entertainment under the guise of teacher rights. This was such a misstep by Regina Public School Teachers Association. This was a misstep by the Saskatchewan Teachers Federation.
Despicable.
And if the government, and I'm talking to all conservative governments here, including my own in Saskatchewan, if we were serious about getting this crazy left-wing activism out of our schools, we could mandate that our teachers only do professional development as it pertains to math, okay? No parent is going to object to their teacher getting training on how to teach math. Saskatchewan students are second last in the nation in math. And yet this drag queens are what are the priority of professional educators in Saskatchewan? Gag. Absolute gag. It's gag worthy.
We have audio from Just Bins. Just so people understand, Just Bins is a garbage company in Regina. But because their drivers are out on the streets, they started posting what they saw, and then they became like a news aggregator. Now people leak stuff to them. And because there is a block on news on Facebook and Instagram for Canadians, because Meta, the parent company, won't pay Mark Carney's shakedown of these companies, for our American friends, the law in Canada is, for some reason, you make the paper boy pay the paper company for some reason, for delivery of the news, which is how which is how I think Meta is. Like, Meta is a free service for publishers to give you the news. But in Canada, to support our failing news companies that nobody trusts because they've already been contaminated with government money, they tried to shake down Meta and say, if a Canadian shares a link on their Facebook page from a publisher, then Meta must pay the publisher, which is completely backward. Meta is providing the service to the publisher.
Right.
And it ultimately resulted in Meta blocking link sharing for Canadians. So we can't consume news on the place where most of us were consuming the news previously. And it also caused ad dollars to tank because these publishers, their reach diminished instantly because it took away their biggest. That's what you get for being greedy, you guys.
And no, like, we don't need a better example about the lamestream media being abject failures in Canada more than the example that Just Bins sets for us, because Just Bins does a better job at keeping Saskatchewan people informed than any other news source, like the lamestream news source in the entire
and you
province.
can consume it in the way that you want to consume it on Facebook or Instagram, because
they're
a garbage company. So
they're the best garbage
escaped
company.
the ban. They escaped the ban. So this is what Just Bins has. Need I remind you? A garbage company breaking the news of what happened at the Regina Teachers Convention.
To the extent they exist, parental rights cannot be used to undermine established human rights in public schools. Parental rights cannot be used as an alibi for racist, homophobic, or transphobic views, or for the erasure of 2S LGBTQIA perspectives and experiences. The research shows that comprehensive sex education saves lives. It reduces homophobic and transphobic violence, sexual violence, and gender-based discrimination. Another common tactic of the parental rights movement, as many of you in this room well know, is to attack teachers, curriculum, and public schools using provocative and ultimately harmful language. The misuse of terms such as back to basics, woke, gender ideology, and critical race theory, and the term parental rights itself are used to motivate the censorship of public curriculum and assert control over public school classrooms. It also suggests that what we're teaching in classrooms is brazenly political, rather than a decided aspect of the public curriculum that is based on research-informed understandings, enshrined rights, and scientific consensus. There is no such thing as neutrality in the classroom. There is no classroom void of politics. There is no curriculum that has not been curated to uphold certain societal norms and values and to privilege particular identities and ways of being and knowing. There is no apolitical history or literature or science. It is all value-laden. Labeling some content political or ideological promotes the idea that a neutral curriculum is possible. The expectation that a teacher can and should be neutral should nag at the ethical soul of any educator. Students learn from a teacher's unwillingness to take a side or to adopt an ethical stance, or to take action in the face of injustice. Neutrality in education is neither possible nor desirable. No teacher wants to be the target of the next social media campaign, calling them pedophiles and rumors.
They're going to be.
Flippantly throwing around these terms, this movement is creating a chilling effect, eliciting fear in teachers who then become more cautious about teaching books and curriculum that may be deemed contentious.
Good.
Canadians need
Good.
to stand up for teachers that are being called rumors, pedophiles, and ideologues. The Saskatchewan
Then
Coalition
don't
to Repeal
act
Book Bill
like
137 is hosting an event this Friday at the Artesian at 8 p.m.
That's a drag performance. What I found funny is they say parental rights has been used for parents to assert control over public school classrooms.
Yeah.
Parents should have control of public school classrooms. Those public school classrooms have their kids for 7 hours a day.
Parents should have all the control over those classrooms.
Thank you.
Parents are the key stakeholders in education. It's public education. Parents are the key stakeholders. And then you have this lunatic who was imported her crap ideas from Manitoba straight into the eager ears of several hundred teacher activists in Saskatchewan. And let me just tell you, yeah, we are here to shut you down. Yeah, we are here to censor you.
We're going to call you names.
We are going to pump the brakes on your insanity. And so with the government of Saskatchewan and the parents and the larger community, we must reject this kind of craziness from the left, shut it down no matter where it lives, and eliminate these kinds of initiatives out of our public school spaces. There is no room for radical gender theory in public school spaces. There is no room for climate alarmism. There is no room for critical race theory in our public schools in Canada. And the time, listen, lady, I hope you had a great time in Regina, because that's the last time you're going to have a good time on taxpayer dimes, because we are shutting this down.
You know, I listened to that and I had nothing but delight. I realize that some people may listen to that and be angry, but you know what that means to me? It's effective. They're scared of parents.
Yes,
and
they are.
all the
They
things
best
that
be.
we're doing to them, they hate it. So you know what, sister? Thanks. You're getting more of it.
Confidential to Saskatchewan Teachers Federation and the Regina Public School Teachers Association. Be afraid.
Yeah. You are woke. You are grooming other people's kids. And parents
you don't want
you
don't
to
want to
stop.
be called. You don't want to be called a groomer,
Then
or a
don't.
pedophile, or an indoctrinator. Then stop behaving like it.
Right.
Stop behaving like it.
Quit putting perverty books in the classroom. You weirdos. You absolute weirdos.
Quit bucking Saskatchewan's parental rights law. Saskatchewan parental rights law was created to include parents in their own child's experience, because it was acknowledged that the left had overreached into crazy gender promotion in our schools. We saw this happening in COVID, and make no mistake, this is one of COVID's worst. This is one of COVID's worst hanging on initiatives that we haven't ejected yet. And to acknowledge that it was a terrible time in COVID, that things got away on us, and that we have to bring things back to common sense is not, this is not confrontational or offside in any way.
Yep.
Children belong to their parents.
Right.
Family is the foundation of our society. And what this woman did was attack the dignity of families, of the parent-child relationship, and teach a couple of hundred educators how to do the same.
Yeah.
It's unforgivable.
Right. It is. It is. And it's just so shameless and open. Like, it's up front.
Yes.
So we know we're at an ideological war with the education system, but we will win.
Yeah.
We will win.
Yeah. And just there are solutions to this, but we need governments to be brave and to have the confidence that they're doing the right thing, because we all just know that we haven't been leading our kids down a good path in education as it pertains to all of this baloney, and we need governments to commit to doing the right thing for our kids. So
you and I had a conversation one time, and we talked about like where our politics have sort of changed in
Evolved.
the culture war.
Yep.
And I used to take a far more libertarian stance, and I still think to some extent I am a libertarian in most things. I want the government to leave me alone. I don't want the government to care what I'm doing, and I don't want to care what anybody else is doing, but I
Right.
also don't want them to make me care.
Right.
However, on a lot of things lately, my politics are, is it good for the kids? And if the answer is no, I don't want it. Jettison it into the surface of the sun. I don't want it.
It's such an easy litmus test when you think about it, when you think that conservatism is rooted in conserving what works.
Right.
And what we know works for a healthy, functioning society is strong families.
Yep.
And so to support families that are distressed, have gone through a chaotic time, are facing challenges with their children, these are all initiatives that any smart conservative government can get behind. And right now in Canada, nobody is doing it better than Danielle Smith.
Yeah, that's true. I think the daily cringe will be the war on Trigger the cat at the hands of the Associated Press. But I just want to touch on, yes, Trigger doesn't care about climate change, I assure you. And neither does his owner. The news out of the UK today, out of London, Tommy Robinson acquitted on terrorism charges. He was charged under their Terrorist Act for not allowing the police to open his phone as a journalist so that they could see his sources when he was working on grooming gang stories. And this is vitally important because a lot of the police were either purposefully turning a blind eye to the grooming gangs or even in some instances participating in the grooming gangs. So Tommy's got their information in his phone. He's a journalist. His sources are protected. He was charged under the Terrorism Act. He was acquitted today, and the judge roasted the police, saying that you did this because of his politics. And so that's the news out of the UK today.
Incredible.
I'm sure Ezra's done a couple of stories. You can get all the news on our website at rebelnews.com. But
yeah, Tommy
finally
tweeted this morning that this is one hurdle that he's managed to jump over relatively unscathed, if you don't consider the immense amount of time and effort and stress and psychological torture it must like going through something like this must feel like to him. But he does have another, he says, similar trial coming up in October. So, but at least that's tomorrow's problem. At least tonight, Tommy Robinson can sleep snug in his bed and know that he did the right thing.
We've got a minute-ish clip of Ezra giving his expert analysis. And I'll just give you a bit of a side quest in this whole story. Ezra was initially not allowed to cover this story as a journalist, despite the fact that he has live tweeted in British courtrooms previously. And a couple weeks ago, members of the mainstream press complained about Ezra's tweets to the judge, of course, because he's doing a better job and his tweets are getting more views and he's actually telling the full story.
This was a journalist from the BBC, yes, that complained to the judge and said, "Hey, that guy from Canada, he can't be telling the whole
story. He can't be telling the whole story about what's happening in here." And so complained, and Ezra reaches out to me as the head of the Independent Press Gallery, and I sent off a letter to the judge and said, look, he has been accredited in British courts. He's accredited at the Supreme Court in Canada, the Court of Appeal in Canada, multiple commissions, like the Public Order Emergency Commission, the Foreign Interference Commission. He's a journalist. He's the author of multiple books and accredited by the federal government for the Debates Commission. And so the judge accepted that and his press credentials and allowed him to continue. What really irritated me about all of that is, though, that the local journalists who do not have the support of the Independent Press Gallery, their credentials were not accepted by the judge. And I think that is wholly unfair. Ezra should not have more rights as a foreign journalist than the national journalists there, just because they're independent journalists. Independent journalists, they are journalists. And a letter from me should not give Ezra more rights than the locals. What I'm saying is Ezra should be able to tweet, and so should the locals. This is a local issue for them. So I found that wholly unfair and arbitrary, but whatever, at least Ezra was in there to do his job. And so he was able to report. Let's go to that clip from Ezra.
Ezra Levant here for Rebel News. I'm standing outside Westminster Magistrates Court. Huge news today. Tommy Robinson acquitted of charges under the Terrorism Act. The judge blistering in his criticism of the police, saying they lacked credibility and their testimony could not be relied on. In fact, the judge went further, saying that he believed that the primary reason the police arrested, detained, and interrogated Tommy in the first place was because of his political views, which is a protected characteristic in the UK. That is, you can't go after someone just because of their politics or their religion. And in fact, the police had no recollection of any questions they asked about terrorism. The judge particularly blunt about that. It's very encouraging for Tommy to be acquitted, because sometimes you feel like you have to give up on the system, that maybe Tommy can't get a fair trial anywhere in the UK. Today is proof that sometimes the system does work. And this is the second time Tommy has been successful at this very courthouse. Now, that still leaves Tommy behind. He spent countless hours on this, all the stress. Last night he didn't know if he would be going home or going to prison. So it's a win for Tommy, but it doesn't get him further ahead. But hopefully the judge's bold comments will wake up the police and tell them, stop your multi-million-pound vendetta against Tommy Robinson. He's a political force. He's not a force of terrorism. And how about fix the problems in the country instead of going after the guy who highlights the problems? For all my reports today, go to TommyTrial.com.
Better get Ezra a Bluetooth microphone.
I'm wondering about Ezra's poppy. Ezra had a really
UK poppy.
Is that the UK version?
Yeah.
Okay, now you guys, this poppy has been problematic all last night and all today. I've been sorry to go on a little side quest here. Sheila, I need a crocheted poppy. This is
I would love to make you one. I would love to. I will deliver one to you this weekend at the SAS Party AGM. But I should tell people you can get a poppy delivered to your door on Amazon, and the nice pins too. The poppy store, the Legion store, is now on Amazon.
On Amazon.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, thank you. Well, thank God for Ezra keeping on this Tommy Robinson story for as long as he has. And that was a tremendous win yesterday. Yeah.
This
just
morning,
when you
I guess
think
it would
it's
have
all,
been.
yes, earlier in the day. Just when you think it's all lost and it's all going up in flames, something like this happens to restore your confidence in humanity. So yes, great.
I know we're going to get questions from our American friends about the poppies. I see we've got some questions about from Americans about the notwithstanding clause. We'll get to that in a second. The poppies. So people in Commonwealth countries largely wear our poppies in the lead up to Remembrance Day, Armistice Day, November 11th, 11/11/11. And it is to honor our war dead. So anyways, you'll see Canadians, people in the UK, Aussies, wearing poppies.
November 1st to November 11th. And it even goes further than that. There are a certain segment of the population who believes that Christmas decorations should not come out until after Remembrance Day.
It's true.
Because it is such a solemn occasion for marking. So yes, we are in poppy season.
And the poppies themselves are they are a nod to the poem by John McCrae, Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae in Flanders Fields. It's a war poem written during the First World War by Canadian physician Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae. And he was inspired to write it in 1915 after presiding over the funeral of a friend and fellow soldier who died And anyways, it's about the poppies in Flanders Field.
Where
So,
where the young man was buried. It's really beautiful. It's a really beautiful testament to that time. Yeah.
yes. So we do chats or the war on Trigger, or
Chats and then cringe.
okay, chats
Okay.
and then cringe. So we got some chats. J Toma 8318 gives us $5. What would Alberta do for a Klondike bar? Ha ha ha. Very funny. You know, I'm still angry that our horrible city of Edmonton did away with the historical exhibition, like
Us too. We did that too in Regina. It used to be all Western based. You guys had what was your
Klondike days.
Klondike days.
We had Klondike days, and that was like our fair.
Ours was Buffalo Days.
It's
And the
an
mascot
abomination.
was Buffalo Bill.
Yeah.
And what was it, like Pemmican Pam or something like that? I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name, but
We had Klondike Mike and
yes.
Klondike Kate, and Klondike. There was like a competition to become Klondike Mike, and you had to be like strong and have all your like
Yes.
outdoorsy skills. And Klondike Kate, she was sort of a cabaret singer,
Yes.
and it was for decades and throughout my youth that you would see people dressed in Klondike attire, like the turn of the century dresses, and the guys with the little skinny ties. And
some of us still dress like a gold digger.
And like the people on the news, it's just like during this Calgary Stampede where everybody thinks they're a cowboy for a week.
They get a white hat. Yeah.
Everybody in Edmonton dressed like they were from the Klondike, because the Edmonton was the gateway to the north. If you were going to find your riches, searching for gold in the Klondike, this is the last place where you would get your supplies. This is your trading, like the major trading fort. And so our history is closely tied to the Klondike gold rush that way. And then all of a sudden Edmonton decided to throw out our tradition and our history, and they started calling it K-Days, which we called it in short, and then they just made that the official name of it. And it's like, what does the K stand for, idiots?
Right.
Like then it was just K-Days, and it was just Midway. Like, great, thanks for nothing.
Ours was Buffalo Days, and now it's just the Regina X, where people go to get assaulted. You know what I mean? Like the whole thing has just evolved.
Yeah, it's just where people get stabbed and robbed. No. Okay. Let's keep going. J Toma 8318 gives us, can you explain to us Yanks the notwithstanding clause? I would love to.
Please.
What the notwithstanding clause does is it shrouds a piece of legislation from legal challenges. It basically says this law is operational, notwithstanding the Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
That's right.
So there cannot be charter challenges to the law. Basically, it doesn't suspend all the charter rights. For example, it can't suspend, I think, language rights, language rights and mobility rights. Odd, right? Since we were all locked in our homes, and treaty rights. But it can suspend or remain. It doesn't actually suspend any rights. It just remains in operation, notwithstanding any challenges that would be brought to the law under Section 2, 7, I think, and 15. So 2 is, of course, freedom of religion, association, freedom of speech. 7 protects life, liberty, security of the person. That's the one that the sex activists love, the security of the person. It makes me less safe, so I have to challenge this law.
Right.
And Section 15 guarantees equity under the law. And so and prohibiting discrimination based on certain grounds. And so they also love that one too. So
it's a resolution tool between provincial governments and our federal government in Ottawa when there is a clash of opinion.
Cultures,
So
really.
when there's a culture clash. So it's a way for a provincial government to overrule
The courts.
the diktats of Ottawa, or of the courts, and it allows the provincial governments to be able to make legislative changes without the interference of the federal government.
Right. And it is
So
a part of our Constitution. So when people
yes,
say, oh, you're suspending the Constitution or you're doing things that are unconstitutional, it's quite literally in the
it's
Constitution.
part of it.
And the notwithstanding clause has a hard stop on it. So it's 5 years.
This is a really great feature.
This is really important because it gives the power back to the voter, right? So the Supreme Court in Canada is unelected. It's appointed by the government of the day. It's frequently stacked with Liberals. That's why we end up with an activist court. So the notwithstanding clause, if it is invoked by a province to shroud a piece of legislation, like the Parents' Bill of Rights in Saskatchewan, from charter challenges on the grounds of equality rights or security of the person or whatever, there's a 5-year time clock on it, wherein the government then has to renew it. So if it's the same government, they have to renew this. If it's a different government, say the Sask party gets kicked out and the socialists get back in, they'll remove it. And you as a voter, if you are so abhorrent to the use of the notwithstanding clause, you just won't vote for the Sask party again. So it actually provides democratic involvement in the use of it through that 5-year stopwatch that's on the piece of legislation.
And that's really interesting because the use of the notwithstanding clause in Saskatchewan was wielded in 2023. And the expiration of the notwithstanding clause in Saskatchewan is going to expire right before the next provincial election. So I'm just going to make a bold prediction and say parental rights and the battle between the radical left-wing activists is going to keep going in Saskatchewan. But luckily, we have a great group of exceptionally common sense, smart people to be able to beat this back. So, so looking forward to it. Like really, I'm looking forward to it. This is the hill that I will die on.
Yeah, let's rumble.
My children belong to me, not to the radical activists at the U of R.
Yep. And again, if it's bad for the kids, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it
Pretty
anywhere
simple.
near society. I hope that helps. So it's a thing you shroud legislation in to protect it from activist busybodies challenging it. And so frequently, side quest, so frequently the activist groups in Canada are funded by the federal government. So they get money to bring these challenges against conservative governments provincially who bring in this important piece of legislation, because education is not within the federal government's purview. It's a provincial issue. But how the federal government meddles is they fund the activists to challenge provincial education legislation.
They found a loophole. And so thanks so much for that question and allowing us to define the notwithstanding clause for our American friends.
Yeah.
It's an interesting quirk of Canada. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's wise. It's it's the same way the American Constitution is a restraining order against the government. The notwithstanding clause is a restraining order against an activist court. P. Schofield 10 says, what? No Yukon election analysis from Ontario's own man-bear pig? I'm shocked. Shocked.
Oh, P. Schofield, thanks so much for watching. I mean, last night was so fun. And if you were around for the funniest part of it, we discussed a Yukon cryptid. What was it called again, Sheila? Oh, Beaver Eater.
The Beaver Eater. I didn't give it that name. That's just the name.
Well, listen, this just sets up our entire road trip to the Yukon, because we're just going to go show off and be like, we're on the hunt for
we're going to get abducted.
The elusive Beaver Eater. Hello? We're here for the elusive Beaver Eater. We'd like an encounter with the Beaver Eater. And it's a real
thing. I didn't make the name up. It's a real cryptid up there. You can go back and watch.
It is so funny. In any case, thanks, P. Schofield. being here with us.
Ableist SL gives us $5. The propaganda book issue is infamous for the excuses they pull for it. Also, check out this AI attack ad that was made by Andrew C. of all people. Tweet ID, account name. Okay, I don't know who it was made by, but I will look into it. I think that's it for the show. Oh no, we have the cringe. We're already like way over, but this is the Associated Press. They tweet, pets have a sizable climate impact, but not all carbon paw prints. Don't try to be cute when you're telling me to get rid of my pets. Are created equal. So if you're looking to get a pet, which ones emit the least? If you've already got one, how do you make sure it has the smallest foot or paw print? Here are some options. Let's listen to this abomination of an ad. The Pet Sustainability Coalition. My God.
Pets bring us joy, but they also leave a surprising paw print on the planet.
Yeah, when it comes to those environmental impacts, it's their food, basically, and in particular, the ingredients in their food. Dogs and cats both eat pretty highly meat-based diets. And what do we know about meat? It's one of the key drivers of climate change.
What else do pets do? Like, we have to feed them. I think that's why it's number one. Agriculture and where food comes from and ingredients has a huge impact.
But our choices go beyond the food bowl. Even how we bring pets into our homes matters.
If there are dogs in the world that already exist that need homes, it seems to be a more responsible decision for the planet than going through a breeder.
This is basically an area of climate change that we just haven't touched yet, which offers relatively simple accident climate change mitigation benefits that I think we should all be quite excited about and working towards.
Pets bring.
I hope their cats eat them when they die.
I was just going to say, yep.
Yeah, like
My
I'm
goodness.
a recent convert to cat ladyism, and it's because my kids are getting older, I think. But
so you have the attention that you have to put on someone. I feel that right to my very bones. Yes,
yeah, and
okay.
like when I go out on my my walks and stuff, now I'm carrying treats for the neighborhood cats with me, just in case I encounter one of them and they might let me come up and talk to it.
Yeah.
But what kind of horrible, like this is the next frontier in their climate nonsense, right?
Yes.
Like these are the people who said, we can't have children. There's too many people on the face of the earth.
I couldn't possibly have offspring when the earth is on fire.
Now they won't even let these poor women that they've convinced to let their fertile, productive years just pass them by. Now they're miserable. And they don't know what's missing in their lives. So they go out and get a cat or two or three. And then these people come along and say, you know that reason that you didn't have kids? Well, now you can't have your cat and you get to just die alone.
Have you considered how your Pomeranian is impacting the planet, Karen? That's what they're asking.
No.
I mean, these are people without actual problems. These are first world problems. When you're considering the carbon footprint of your kitty,
yeah. First of all, my cat doesn't care about anybody's climate. I don't care about the climate footprint of Trigger. He can do no wrong. He could be out in the yard burning tires right now, and I'd be like, good boy, good kitty, good kitty, look at you doing stuff outside. Don't come for my cat. And by the way, this whole, it also completely ignores the fact that most pet food is food waste.
Byproduct. That's right. Yes.
It's like the joints and the knuckles and the bones and the snouts and the skin that's not meant for human consumption, plus corn that's not meant for human consumption, and all like food. It's just food waste that they're repurposing to feed your cat.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yep. Stop it. Just leave the kitties alone.
The kitties and the kids, leave them alone.
Alone.
Okay. We've got oh, sorry, we found the attack ad. So Andrew Cuomo in New York, he posted then quickly deleted an AI generated ad depicting criminals for Zohran Mamdani, the wildest attack ad I've seen in politics. Some say this is an ad on an attack ad on New York people depicting them as criminals. Let's watch this. I know we're way over time. I'm really sorry, but let's just watch.
No, this is interesting. I want to watch.
Let's learn together.
Zohran Mamdani's opponents want you to believe he's an inexperienced radical whose policies will make New York City more dangerous. But what do his actual supporters think?
Mamdani isn't crazy.
He's just trying to even the playing field.
You know, give everyone a fair shot. Sure, he said multiple times we need to defund the police, but that was just a metaphor.
And yes, he did say crime is a social construct, but that was also a metaphor.
His main backer, the Democratic Socialists' ideas are common sense, such as
decriminalizing misdemeanors, like shoplifting,
third-degree assault, trespassing, prostitution,
and drunk driving.
With plans to decriminalize all drugs, Mamdani will be a job creator for drug dealers.
Instead of helping us homeless get off the streets and into the mental health facilities we need, he wants to give us safe injection sites to do crack and let us sleep in subway carts.
These are actual policies Mamdani and the DSA want to implement on day one.
When a woman's being domestically abused, she finally won't have to deal with some pesky cop to arrest the abuser, but now a social worker to help, kumbaya the situation.
Breathe in, breathe out.
This is
Mamdani is finally lowering jail sentences. Guilty! But Mamdani says you're free to go.
Who cares if legalizing prostitution statistically leads to an increase for sex trafficking of women and young girls by 70%?
You can't have safety without equality.
For unlawful abiding citizens like us, globalize the intifada.
I'm a criminal. I'm a criminal. I'm a criminal.
I'm a criminal.
Yep. I'm a criminal for Zohran. For Zohran Mamdani.
I didn't have a real job until I was 30, but sure, give me the keys to the city. What's the worst that can happen?
Paid for by Cuomo for NYC.
That's
Okay.
that is wild.
That's pretty cutting. Andrew Cuomo's swinging for the fences in that ad. He wasn't calming down, but if he did I just wonder the motivation of the dirty delete, because I've seen in politics a couple times where a politician, typically right at the end of a campaign, will say something really sort of inflammatory on the internet and quickly delete it, because then what happens
is it gets picked up and
it
goes.
gets picked up by their enemy's camp and they promote it. And so that's what happened to Andrew Cuomo here. Now listen, am I opposed to anything he said there? Like,
No.
absolutely not.
No.
That was a great, where I think the ethical line may have been crossed is that it was AI generated. There was no, there was no AI generated video
Right.
watermark on it. And it could be argued that people could be misled into thinking that it was an actual live video of actual people. But as for its content, I think excellent.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe some of Cuomo's critics might say, well, there were some pretty firm racial stereotypes in there.
Well, but the thing about AI is that it has a model, right? And you can only
Right.
train AI as far as it goes. So whether they were, and there was a couple of characters in that video that I thought resembled celebrities in some way, because the models are built on celebrity faces. So listen, if it had this ad is AI generated, or if there was some sort of disclaimer on it, I would have no problem with it whatsoever. Actually, not at all.
Yeah. I'm glad that we stopped to watch that, because I mean, that was something.
Is today the election there?
I think it is. Is today the election? I think it might be.
The New York mayoral election? I think it may be. So big day. And then don't forget, we have the budget coming up this afternoon.
Yep.
So make sure you tune into tomorrow's program, you guys. It will be absolutely wild.
Yes. And tomorrow's the panel on the show. Let's wrap up. We've been going for an hour and 40 minutes. We had a lengthy live stream last night. Livia, thanks for working so hard behind the board for us today. Thanks to everybody who pitched in a little bit to keep the lights on here at Rebel News. Special thanks to Lise for being my partner in co-hosting today.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Thanks, buddy. And thanks to those of you who do the very free thing of engaging with our content. Leave a comment, share it across your social media platforms, email a link to a friend. The more our content is engaged with, the more the algorithms serve it up in front of more eyeballs. And it is my goal to get us to 2 million subscribers by the end of the year. So if you're watching right now and you aren't subscribed, what are you even doing?
Yeah, hit the bell button. I hate to sound like one of those little YouTubers that like hit like and subscribe.
I know. Exactly. But I guess at the end of the day, we kind of are, aren't we?
Please like and subscribe.
Yeah, like and subscribe to us. Okay, that's it. Let's wrap up. We're getting silly. And as Lisa and I have been saying, if you find us offensive, maybe don't find us at all.
Do you agree with me? It is time to make Canada great again. And that is why we at Rebel News have teamed up with MCGA Hats to introduce, well, the fashion sensation of 2025. Oh, and by the way, these beautiful hats, they are made in Canada. We don't rely on cheap imports coming over from China. So what are you waiting for, folks? Show your pride. This is the perfect thing for a patriot to wear, or maybe there's a patriot in your life that you would like to gift such a hat. Please go to mcgahats.ca. That's mcgahats.ca. Don't be shy about it. Wear this cap. Let everybody know you want to make Canada